In recent years, the NASCAR gaming landscape can only be described with one word: disappointment. With mediocre releases and minimal innovation to be found in the genre, those who seek a fulfilling experience from a NASCAR game have to reach back decades into the past to find it. 2 decades to be specific. 2023 marks the 20th anniversary of the release of NASCAR Racing 2003 season by Papyrus Design Group, a game that has rightfully earned its spot as one of, if not the greatest sim racing title of all time. A game so influential that traces of it can still be found today within iRacing, its spiritual successor, and the giant of the current sim racing world. Today I'm going to be listing off 5 reasons why I believe NR2003 stands above other releases and still earns attention from a dedicated community of diehards. To start off, any racing game can be critiqued simply by its physics model. When it comes to NR2003, the physics model is a home run. With tire wear, fuel consumption, engine temperatures, and more, it is a true hardcore simulation, no question about it. Like with any sim, to really get the full experience, one would play with a wheel and pedal set, not a controller. When I first got my wheel and pedal set, NR2003 became an entirely new game for me. Instead of using the numpad on my keyboard to control the car with ample help from the various assist settings, I could drive the car in the game how it was designed to be driven. You can feel the slip angle of the tires, you can feel the dirty air as you trail a fellow competitor, you can run different lines in the corners depending on the track you're racing at. All this adds up to a greater understanding of what it would have been like to be a Winston Cup driver in 2003. The game was popular among NASCAR drivers in the mid-2000s, with Dale Earnhardt Jr., Martin Truex Jr., Denny Hamlin, and Brad Keselowski all playing it. Hamlin even swept the 2 Pocono races in his rookie season of 2006, something completely unheard of as Pocono is one of the trickiest tracks to do well at, hence the name, the Tricky Triangle. He credited NR2003 with helping him learn the track, something he must have done quite well as he dominated the first 2 times he ever competed at the facility. In short, examples like this highlight the game's realism, something that other NASCAR games both past and present have really struggled with. Now, it may be a bit odd to list crashes as a highlight of a sim, but in NR2003's case, it is completely justified. Any type of accident you may see over the course of a season can easily be reenacted in NR2003. For proof of that, there are several channels on YouTube that do crash reenactments of real-life accidents to varying degrees of accuracy. Just the sheer notion that this is possible is incredible in and of itself. While one may argue that the one unrealistic part of crashing in NR2003 is how cars have a tendency to flip easily, the point remains that the way cars interact and bounce off the walls and other cars are a sight to behold. The crash physics in this game blow even modern sims out of the water. For example, Assetto Corsa is one of the most popular sim racing games on the market today, and for good reason. The driving in it is incredibly enjoyable, fun, and rewarding. However, crash physics in Assetto Corsa is atrocious. The game doesn't even have a genuine damage model. How can a racing/driving game not have a damage model? It came out in 2014. Hitting walls in Assetto Corsa can often fling your car around like it's a PS2 Need for Speed game. This is not to slander Assetto Corsa because it is one of my favorite sims, but NR2003 is an all-around physics juggernaut. It's not Wreckfest or BeamNG Drive, but it's not supposed to be a crashing simulator at the end of the day. And yet, the crash physics of NR2003 is one of the things that set it apart from other sims, both contemporary and modern. This probably isn't one of the first things people think of when they reminisce about NR2003, but when you play other sims, it quickly becomes apparent how far ahead of its time the Papyrus games were with their replay modules. Recently, I've been playing a lot of Automobilista 2, and trying to watch replays in that game is basically impossible. I won't spend too much time on it, but NR2003 and most of the Papyrus games before it have incredible replay capabilities. It shouldn't be a surprise that NR2003 videos really took off here on YouTube. R-Factor videos never gained wide traction around the same time, because replay systems in R-Factor and other ISI motor games are hard to navigate and inconvenient to work through. I'd argue that NR2003 went through a bit of a surge in popularity in the late 2000s, thanks in part to the growing community on YouTube that uploaded crash compilations, offline leaks, and reenactments, among other videos. I can speak from personal opinion that I would never have owned NR2003 without YouTube. I didn't have a computer until 2007, so I was always Team Console, getting plenty of mileage out of Dirt to Daytona and the NASCAR Thunder Series. If it wasn't for me discovering NR2003 on YouTube, I would not be sitting here making this video. I think that NR2003's straightforward replay systems made it much more accessible and easy to make videos from. And that's not even mentioning third-party programs like Camera Control Master and FreeCam, which allow you, the user, to edit the camera angles in real time. iRacing does use the same replay system, obviously, as it is built off NR2003's source code, but outside of that, most modern sims have incredibly irritating replay systems, and it hampers users' ability to quickly and conveniently make videos from game action. Credit to Papyrus for designing an amazing replay tool within the game. This is probably the big thing that everyone who knows about NR2003 will reference. Thanks to some post-release patches after EA bought the rights to the exclusive NASCAR licensed video game, modding became possible with NR2003. Soon you could pick up from the Cup Series, the Busch Series, the Truck Series, or the Trans Am Series, and each came with their own designated physics model. For example, the Trans Am physics, or PTA physics, came with a 6-speed gearbox rather than the 4-speed used in NASCAR. From there, modders were able to use PTA physics as a way to introduce open-wheel racing into the game. Once a Cup Series only sim, NR2003 transformed into a wide-ranging racing game. IndyCar mods, Formula 1 mods, sports cars, Australian V8 supercars, even a sprint car mod found its way into the game. And that's not even mentioning updated NASCAR mods as time progressed, like the COT, the Gen 6, or updated Truck Series bodies. And it wasn't just more modern variations of stock cars either. Many mods came out dedicated to the past history of stock car racing, like the Cup 90 mod as an example. This game truly took on an entirely new life after Papyrus closed its doors. We might not see another sim racing game ever transform so drastically after its developer shut down ever again. Painting race schemes is incredibly easy too. For example, you can download a template, paint a minimal scheme in 3 minutes, and have it imported into the game in about 5 clicks of the mouse. It's as simple as creating custom schemes for a racing game can ever possibly get. Trying to paint cars for R Factor or Assetto Corsa is really just a pain in the rear end, whereas in NR2003 it's as simple as anybody could ever make it. It wasn't just the cars themselves that saw an overhaul. Thanks to the release of the game's track making software, Sandbox, users could teach themselves how to make an intricate, detailed track. No longer did players have to use the 23 tracks which ship with the game. From F1 tracks, to dirt tracks, to fictional tracks, to joke tracks, hundreds if not thousands of tracks have been made over the years. You can find some hidden gems out there if you scour the internet for them, or you can even make tracks yourself if you dedicate a little bit of time to understanding the basics of Sandbox and track INI files. It may be daunting, but it becomes easy if you learn how to do it. Thanks to these two examples, most of NASCAR history can be recreated within NR2003. If you want to race the Dodge Daytona Superbird at a 1970s version of Daytona, you can do it. If you want to trade paint with Dale Earnhardt and Rusty Wallace at North Wilkesboro in 1990, you can do it. If you want to try to spoil the story of Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 2001 Pepsi 400, you can do that too. The possibilities are endless for what you can get away with out of NR2003. Customization like this only adds to the longevity of a racing sim. There's a reason R Factor and Assetto Corsa were and are popular, and there's a reason I'm sitting here talking to you today about NR2003 and not NR2002. The more you open the scope of customization, the more you give the player the ability to sink more time into the game, discovering the possibilities. Finally, the last point about why NR2003 is awesome is simply the community, both on YouTube and the internet as a whole. Thanks to online racing, leagues have existed since the game came out in 2003 and still do today. I was in an amazing league from 2011 to about 2015, and I cannot understate how much fun I had doing it. We ran all sorts of cars like all 3 National Series, late models, American open wheel cars, you name it. We probably had a series with it at some point. Of course, I still have the replays so I can go back now and enjoy the racing from back then. On my channel you can find plenty of videos of clips of funny moments and crazy crashes from those races. Racing online in NR2003 has always been a joy at the end of the day, and while I don't do it anymore, it was a rewarding, fun experience to race against the same people week after week and see how you measured up. We didn't have a huge league and there was a sizable spread from the front of the field to the back, but everybody was mostly encouraged to participate and have fun. While exceptions did happen, as they always do, the racing was fun and enjoyable. On the internet as a whole, there are many websites to get resources like mods, paint schemes, tracks, and more. While most of these sites are no longer around, there are still a few still going strong, and it's fascinating seeing what users of the game can produce and share with the rest of the community. It is incredible to see that people who were born after NR2003 was released are investing time and effort into creating things for the whole community to use without getting paid and just as their own personal side project or own personal passion project. It really is an incredible thing. The reason I made this video is because it dawned on me the other day that this year marks the 20th anniversary of NASCAR Racing 2003 season. And while I'm sure that other videos will be made about the milestone and have already been made about past milestones, I just wanted to share my thoughts and opinions on a game that meant so much to me growing up. In a time when the best NASCAR video game experience on the market is iRacing, I wanted to go back and reminisce about a standalone NASCAR sim that was the last of its era. Its demise ushered in the demise of the NASCAR video game genre as a whole, a decline that seems to be getting lower and lower by each new release. Modern releases that cannot touch the console classics of the early 2000s, let alone the icon that is NASCAR Racing 2003 season. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please remember to like and subscribe. Thank you.